If you know how to ride a unicycle forwards, the principles that it takes to learn that are the same principles that it takes to ride backwards. The principles to go forward are lean forward to go forward, try to be as tall as you can, and try not to slouch over at your torso, and use those hips to go with a natural squiggle that the unicycle wants to take. For going backwards is the exact same principles, except lean forward to go forward becomes lean backwards to go backwards. Being tall and using those hips also apply to going backwards. So if you know how to ride a unicycle forwards, you can probably ride it backwards doing the same thing, just in reverse. Here are a few exercises to learn how to go backwards more efficiently. Because the only mechanical difference of riding forwards and backwards is where you lean, so all these exercises are going to be geared towards getting you more comfortable with leaning backwards. The first exercise is you can ride normally towards a wall. And once you get to that wall, use it to hold yourself up, and when you're ready, push against the wall so you fall backwards. Your two options are either to ride backwards a few cranks, try to catch yourself, or just step off the unicycle. Each time you push off, try to ride a little bit farther. This will get you more comfortable with leaning backwards because this is the #1 apprehension people have when learning to ride backwards. It also helps if you can idle, because once you ride backwards, you can stop and ride forward again to increase those repetitions. Otherwise, you have to step off the unicycle, get back on, and then ride towards the wall again. Another exercise is riding backwards downhill. This is a little bit scarier, but the advantageous part of this one is you don't have to actually lean backwards to go backwards. Because you're on a hill, the unicycle wants to ride down the hill, and you just have to remain upright. This will give you a little bit more confidence of pedaling backwards, so you don't have to tack on another fear of leaning backwards and also trusting yourself to be able to pedal backwards. It is a little more scary to ride backwards downhill when you're first starting out, but the good thing is if you fall forward, you don't fall backwards because you're not leaning backwards. And the last exercise you can do to learn how to ride backwards is learn how to idle. Idling is essentially riding forwards and backwards, just back to back, so you stay in the same general area. I made a video about idling up in the top right corner, but essentially the more time you spend idling, the more comfortable you are leaning slightly backwards so you can actually lean backwards to go backwards. Instead of doing a half crank forwards and a half crank backwards when idling, try to do a full crank forwards and then a full crank backwards. Once you get a full crank, do a full and a half, and then full and a half back, two fulls back, and so on and so forth. This is a little bit more of an advanced version of the wall push-off method, but it's still an adequate method to learning how to ride backwards. The more practice you have without a wall, the more comfortable you will be trying to maintain balance in a really awkward position on a unicycle. So it's harder, but it might be better in the long run. I hope this video was helpful for you to learn to ride backwards the first time. Let me know if you have any concerns or questions in the comments below. And also consider subscribing if you want more unicycle content. Thanks and good luck.